All right, let's talk about something that hits a lot of us. We're diving deep into why some of the most brilliant, most capable people out there are also the biggest procrastinators. Seriously, it's not what you think. And the answer? It might just completely change how you see yourself.
So, does this sound familiar? You've got a project. You know, deep down, you have the talent and the skills to nail it, maybe even finish it early. But you just don't. You wait until the absolute last minute. Why? Why does your brain slam on the brakes until the deadline is staring you in the face? It's this incredibly frustrating puzzle, right? Well, trust me, you are not the only one feeling this way.
Okay, here's the big idea that changes everything. What if? What if procrastination isn't laziness at all? I mean, what if it's not some kind of character flaw? What if it's actually a defense mechanism? The idea is that your very active, very powerful mind is trying to protect itself. But the big question is, protect itself from what?
Well, to figure that out, we have to meet the culprits. Think of them as 5 hidden saboteurs lurking in your mind. These are the psychological patterns that are secretly, silently hitting the brakes right when you're trying to step on the gas. So let's pull back the curtain and see which one of these might be driving your own procrastination. First on our list is something called analytical overload. And honestly, this is kind of the curse of having a really active mind. You don't just see one path forward, you see all of them. Every single possibility, every potential mistake, and all those options create this mental noise, like a wall of static that's so loud it makes just starting feel completely impossible. You're frozen. Yeah, this is literally what's happening inside your head. It's like your brain is a supercomputer, right? But instead of just launching the program, it's running thousands of different simulations for every single possible outcome. It's not that you're lazy, it's just that all your incredible processing power is getting stuck in a loop. And then there's this one. The perfectionism trap. I bet a lot of you know this one intimately. Your internal standards are just so high that the idea of producing something that's just good or okay feels absolutely terrifying. So to protect your self-image, that identity of being the smart one or the talented one, your brain chooses the safest option. Just don't start at all.
And that's the real kicker, isn't it? It's not actually about the project. It's about what the result of that project says about you. If you can't guarantee a masterpiece, an A+, then doing nothing at all can actually feel safer than turning in something you think is just average. It's a totally twisted logic, but man, is it powerful.
Okay, let's talk about saboteur number 3, existential anxiety. This is for all you deep thinkers out there. You know, you're wrestling with the big stuff, the meaning of it all, your purpose in the universe, and then you're supposed to pivot from that to, what? Answering emails? The contrast is jarring.
Exactly. Your mind is used to flying at 30,000 feet, thinking about the big picture, and suddenly it has to land and deal with these tiny, ground-level tasks. That mental whiplash between your huge, existential why and the small, immediate what just sucks all the motivation right out of you. The task doesn't just feel boring, it feels meaningless. Saboteur number 4 is actually baked right into our biology. It's called neuroplasticity resistance. See, your brain is kind of like a lazy genius. It's an efficiency expert, always looking for the path of least resistance. Anything new or challenging means it has to build new roads, new neural pathways, and that takes a ton of energy. And that's the core conflict, right there. You know that real growth, real change happens in that sweet spot of desirable difficulty. But your brain? It's hardwired to save energy, so it will almost always vote for the comfortable, familiar path. So when you procrastinate, it's often just your brain choosing comfort over the effort of change. And that leads us perfectly to our 5th and final saboteur, which works hand in hand with the last one, the lack of an immediate reward. Think about it. Your big, important, life-changing goals, they have a payoff way down the road. But your brain's reward system, it's not built for the long haul. It wants its reward and it wants it now. And that is precisely the moment you suddenly find yourself scrolling through your phone or clicking on another video. Why? Because those things give you a quick, easy little hit of dopamine, a little jolt of pleasure. Your brain isn't trying to be bad. It's just making a very simple calculation and choosing the guaranteed instant reward over the one that's way off in the future. Okay, so let's take a quick, kind of fascinating detour. Have you ever wondered if all these mental battles we're talking about could actually show up physically in our habits? It's a bit of a thought experiment, but it's a really interesting one. Just think about it for a second. The fetal position when we sleep. Isn't that the physical posture of feeling anxious or overwhelmed, just like with analytical overload? Or what about sleeping flat on your back,
ramrod straight like a soldier. Could that reflect the rigidity and high standards of the perfectionism trap? It's just a theory, of course, but it's a pretty cool connection to think about, the link between mind and body.
So we've met our 5 saboteurs, we've seen how they work behind the scenes. The big question now is, what do we do about it? Well, there's no magic fix here, no instant cure. The real first step is actually something way more powerful than that.
And this right here is the most important thing I want you to take away from all of this. Please let this sink in. You are not difficult. You're just wired differently. All these things, the overthinking, the perfectionism, the big picture anxiety, they are not signs that you're broken. They're just byproducts of having a complex, powerful mind. The goal isn't to judge your wiring, it's to understand it.
This is where the real work and the real transformation begins. Forget about all the typical productivity hacks for a second. This is about building self-awareness. It's about getting to a place where, in the moment, you can actually catch yourself and say, oh wait, that's analytical overload kicking in, or, ha, I see you, perfectionism trap. The second you can name the pattern, you start taking its power away.
And really, that's the whole point. This kind of awareness, it's a one-way street. Once you start seeing these patterns, once you start recognizing these saboteurs in your own day-to-day life, you can't go back to not seeing them. And that awareness, that simple act of understanding, that is the first, most crucial step you can take to finally start working with your amazing mind instead of constantly fighting against it.